Two humorous nurses would like to acknowledge the true custodians of the land in which we record our podcast, the Yorta Yorta people.
We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend our respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders listening today. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. This episode is brought to you by eNurse, Australia's leading nurse shop. Head over to enurse.com.au. eNurse loves our nurses. Two Humorous Nurses with Kelly and Alisha.
The podcast that might just kill you.
Welcome to Two Humorous Nurses, where we plan to bring you funny, informal, conversational chat about all things nursing.
The title today is a dead giveaway.
I mean,
I came up with this one after watching State of Origin, and I did a story about like these people are going to fucking kill each other. And then I thought I wondered when people had died playing sport, and then I thought that's probably a bit grim.
And it happens a lot.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
It just, Phil Hughes comes to mind. Anyway, Devo, sad. Too grim for this podcast.
Too grim.
So, and then I wondered about extreme sports, when have people gone, I'm going to, Evel Knievel, I'm going to jump over 12 buses.
So Cam and I be obsessed with watching mountain climbing documentaries, so Everest and things like that.
Okay, yeah, we've watched a few of them.
Yeah, and we watched a doco of some sons who went back to get their father who died on a mountain in Nepal. Crikey. But because they couldn't take him down 17 years later, his body was found completely preserved, and they went up there and brought him down and did a full Nepalese. I don't know what are the people in there in Nepal, one of their big ceremonies at the base of the mountain, and he was completely preserved.
Holy cow!
But people walk over dead people on Everest. So for 17 years they'd been walking over a dead body, because you can't remove them from the mountain. It's not safe.
Right.
And they just die. You just know if you're going to climb Everest or any of those big peaks that you probably could die.
Crazy.
And they don't care.
Yeah. See, wouldn't that just be a full-on red flag, climbing a mountain over dead bodies?
But his son said, he chose to do this one final
it was
climb.
His final.
And in
never again.
Yeah. His climbing mate that went with him, who's now married to his wife and is the stepdad to his kids. Weird. Yep, that was when that came up in the doco. Me and Cam were like, "Ooh."
He pushed him
in the mountain when they were in the tent, before the final ascent. He'd said, "This is going to be my last. My boys need me at home."
Oh,
well, it literally was his last.
Right. What was funny just got really sad. Fuck
Sorry.
you.
No, but I mean, it's that's extreme.
It's
but people die doing cricket.
Very unextreme.
Exactly.
Things.
Running a marathon.
Yeah. But then I was thinking even less extreme. What are the really fucking dumb ways people have died?
Dumb ways.
And here we are.
I mean, the Darwin Awards, we've all heard of them.
Mm-hmm. Charles
Darwin, he's an English naturalist. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
The study of nature.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't like nature.
Should we look it up?
Anyway, his scientific theory of evolution by natural selection became the foundation of modern evolutionary studies. So everyone created this Darwin Award, which commemorates individuals who protect our gene pool by making the ultimate sacrifice of their own lives. They eliminate themselves in an extraordinarily idiotic manner, thereby improving our species' chance of long-term survival.
Yeah, of course. I mean, people have been dying in stupid ways since the beginning of time.
I mean, that's why in the Northern Territory there's signs near waterholes that say don't swim with crocodiles. But they'll swim anyway.
A naturalist is an expert in or student of natural history.
Oh,
boring.
Boring, yeah. So I Googled and I found a couple of 2022 Darwin Award
Here we go.
nominees. These are the two that made me laugh out loud. So.
Okay. I can't wait.
This one's in Italy in April. There was this man, he's 46 years old, well-known character in the city of Cattolica. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Italian city.
Yeah.
He snuck in the back of a closed market on Easter Monday, and that break-in was his last. This Italian supermarket had a huge display of bottled water, and he stopped the break-in to have a quick drink, And by pulling the bottle of water out of the towering, pile of them, the whole thing collapsed on him like a tidal wave and basically crushed him.
What?
Yep. So employees returned, because it was like a public holiday, returned to the shop the next day and were confronted by like this collapsed mess of crates and water bottles. A few hours into the workday, when they finally began cleaning it up, because, you got to take a bit of time.
To do. Sure.
Lifted up the first crate and her arm dropped out.
What?
Yeah, so it was clear that something had happened.
Oh, my God.
So they looked at CCTV footage and they were able to reconstruct the last moments of the 46-year-old's life as he tugged the bottle free and was crushed by the weight of the crates.
Oh, my God.
People were said to have been sad he died, but then again, it was his fault, breaking in and then like having
Just stopping for a drink.
Sneaky drink.
How funny.
Yeah, like imagine that. Just anyway.
Imagine like being told, like, I mean, okay, crushed to death, not a great way to go. But like, imagine the cops telling his family, like,
I know.
oh, he died at the supermarket. What do you mean? Oh, well, he broke in and then water bottles fell on top of him. like he was that thirsty. Like maybe armed robbery or robbery is thirsty work.
In the like comments on Facebook were like, don't go chasing waterfalls, thirst trap. On Instagram you post thirst traps, which is like sexy photos, like for you, like thirst trap. So much for water being a healthy choice. Unexpected item in bagging area. That must have been a slippery situation.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I just thought it was very funny.
Very funny.
And so the other one was in Spain, in Mallorca, in May. Dutch football pro, I can't pronounce his name, but Lambert. He was hungry for a vacation prank and he leapt off a cliff. This is gross. Leapt off a cliff into the ocean. It says, thinking his athletic strength will carry him out into the beautiful blue ocean waters below, 30 metres below, right?
Wow.
So he instructed his kinfolk to film him. And if you go onto the Darwin Awards website, you can see a picture and it is interesting. And he let out like a triumphant like yodel as he tombstoned himself off the cliff into the abyss. Keep in mind, 30 metres is high even for experienced cliff divers, but in order from where he leapt to actually hit water was 10 metres out, like horizontally.
No.
So he had to propel himself 10 metres off the cliff in order to hit water, because it was like, so of course, like he didn't. He just
hit
became
the cliff
like
below.
the sharp rocks below, and basically like the picture is him sort of like cartwheeling down, but he's obviously by that point had been knocked out and was just like flung down into the water below. It said, adding insult to injury, the impact velocity was equal to being hit by a car on the motorway. The Dutch athlete died in the brine at the age of 31. A goner, I'm sorry to say, missed by family and friends alike.
Oh, my God.
Why would you do it? Someone's like straight suicide.
That's a very he miscalculated, clearly. And if there were people up there, wouldn't they be like, you're a fucking idiot, you'll never make it?
Like, I don't
And
get
how was he expecting to get out of the water?
Well, there was people in a boat.
Oh.
So
they're like, yeah, jump, we'll catch you. We'll grab you out of the water.
So just interestingly, in this article too, it said that research shows a connection between epigenetic changes and risk-adverse decisions is so the children of risk takers may experience inheritable epigenetic changes to the genes that makes them risk-adverse and less likely to follow a parent's fatal foolishness. So if you were someone who took a lot of risks and your children are unlikely to do that.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which is good, I guess, because then you the next generation might survive.
Holy crap. That's very strange.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, I thought, well, if you're going to do the Darwin Awards, I want to look and see, like, throughout history, like, some of the dumbest ways people have died. And I tell you, some of these were so fucking funny. Like, one of them was some guy, like an eagle dropped a turtle on his head and he died.
So I read that you could you're more likely to die from a shark attack than being hit in the head by a falling coconut, right?
Okay.
When I lived in Broome, I used to work on a cattle station south of Broome, and we had like palm trees, like coconut palm trees everywhere. And we were playing cricket one day and I got hit in the head by a falling coconut. Knocked me out.
Well, now you don't have to worry when you go swimming.
Yeah, but I still won't swim in the ocean.
Maybe you've just got shit luck.
Yeah, imagine.
So 20th. I've gone like really far.
I know,
back.
like some of these dates.
Some of these are crazy, and then other ones are like in the 20th century. So, 20th of February, 1258. Some guy, I can't pronounce his name. Sorry. The last Abbasid Caliph of Baghdad. I love this. This was a way that they executed people back in. This was in Mongolia. So he was captured by Mongols and he was rolled up in a rug and then trampled by horses. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. As that would not be the first way that I would think of
to execute someone.
Roll them in a rug so they can't get out. Reminds me of like Grandpa Simpson when they roll him up in the rug in church in the movie. Anyway, John Cummings, March 1809. After seeing a circus knife swallower, he began actually swallowing knives. On one occasion, he swallowed 4 knives and then he passed 3 with no ill health. He later swallowed... Well, I wonder what happened to the 4th one.
I was just thinking that.
Anyway, strange.
Not enough
He
to
later
kill him.
swallowed 14 knives and after some days with abdo pain, he passed all of them. Maybe that's where the 4th one came out with that as well.
14 knives?
Then one day he finally swallowed 20 knives and a clasp knife case, but after a few days he'd only passed the case.
Oh, no.
He died after 4 years in pain.
What?
On autopsy, a knife blade and spring were found in his intestines and between 30 and 40 fragments of metal, wood and horn in his stomach. So I imagine that was like the handle maybe was
So
made of
maybe
horn.
like his stomach
Started to
acid
digest
had
it.
like actually broken down some of the metal of those knives.
Well, if you think about, I mean, I don't know what in 1800s what they were making knives out of, but I mean, if some of them were made from like minerals, maybe.
Well, I suppose they would have been made from I don't know,
like nickel or
Maybe,
some of those things, I guess,
easily are breakdownable
Maybe.
with acid.
Interesting.
Still though, that's a lot of
Crazy. 4 years. Imagine being like, fuck. Shouldn't
imagine
have swallowed
4
those
years back
knives
then
4
too.
years ago.
Like they wouldn't have known what to do.
I know.
Crazy.
I wonder if he even told anyone. Then we got Thornton Jones in 1924.
Thornton. I quite like that name.
Thornton. Be all right if you
Thornton.
pronounce it. Not in the country. Everyone call him Thorny.
Thornton.
Thorno.
Thornton.
Anyway.
Hey, Thornton.
So here's a lawyer in Wales and he woke up to find that he'd had his throat slit.
Ooh.
Then he motioned for a piece of paper and a pencil and he wrote, I dreamt I'd done it. I awoke to find it true. And he died 80 minutes later.
He slit his own throat in his sleep.
Yeah. And then they did an inquest and the verdict was suicide while temporarily insane. But, I mean, he's a lawyer. Like he was, you know.
But he was asleep.
And he was asleep and he slit his own throat.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that so fucked up?
Oh, that's
not
creepy.
a dumb way to die because I feel like he
I mean, it's pretty dumb. In your sleep, you accidentally slit your throat.
Yeah, but I feel like it wasn't really in his control. Like this guy jumping off the cliff, well and truly in his control.
Still pretty dumb.
All right, speaking of deaths that are out of your control. This is okay, I got all kinds of fucked up when I was researching for this episode. So then we have Mary Reeser. On the 2nd of July 1951, she was found by the police in her St. Petersburg, Florida home, almost totally cremated where she sat, while her apartment was relatively damage-free. So some speculate that she spontaneously combusted.
Boom.
So then I was like, what the fuck? Is this actually real? I just thought spontaneous combustion was just like a theory that people threw out there, which it is kind of a theory. And I thought I actually need to look into this a little bit further.
Yeah, definitely.
So now I'm obsessed with spontaneous human combustion.
Why not?
So, but there are other people that have spontaneously combusted. One of them was a guy he'd spontaneously combusted after he'd chased down a UFO. This was in the 50s.
Oh.
Anyway, that one's kind of an outlier. People don't really know what.
Was he in Area 51? Or
no, then they thought it was a skyhook that had. Anyway, that's another story.
Skyhook?
Yeah, apparently. Anyway, Margaret Hogan is another woman. So I went down the spontaneous combustion rabbit hole.
Let's go.
So Margaret Hogan was an 89-year-old widow who lived alone in Dublin in Ireland, and she was found burned almost to the point of complete destruction in 1970. Plastic flowers on a table in the centre of the room had been reduced to liquid, and the TV had a melted screen that was 12 feet from the armchair in which her ashen remains were found. Otherwise, the surroundings were almost untouched. And this is the other thing that blew my mind, and I can't even explain this. In a couple of these cases, from the knees down, like they combusted from the knees up. So their legs were still, like from the knees, their lower legs were still intact. So this woman, 2 feet and both legs from below the knees were undamaged. A small coal fire had been burning in the grate when a neighbour left the house the previous day. However, no connection between this fire and that which Miss Hogan died could be found. An inquest held on the 3rd of April recorded death by burning, with the cause of the fire listed as unknown. Then there was another guy, Henry Thomas, 73-year-old, who was burned to death in the living room of his council house in South Wales in 1980. His entire body was incinerated, leaving only his skull and a portion of each leg below the knee. His feet and legs were still clothed in socks and trousers.
Shit.
Half of the chair in which he'd been sitting was also destroyed, and police forensic officers decided that the incineration of Thomas was due to the wick effect. So the wick effect is like if something burns your skin and then your omentum, like your subcut and omentous fat kind of spill out, and that causes like an oily wick.
Yes.
Which then causes the melting and burning, right?
Okay, gotcha. Because I suppose fat's soluble. It doesn't matter if it's human fat or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the smell of burning human flesh.
Oh, Kelly, you're so fucked up. Then in December 2010, the death of Michael Faraday, 76-year-old man in Galway, Ireland, was recorded as spontaneous combustion by the coroner.
A lot of these places are very cold environments.
Interesting, isn't it? Probably all have fires burning. But I think they exclude the connection between the fire and the person. Yeah,
but it's just weird that it's a cold climate type place. Anyway.
Well, no, one of them was Florida. Mary Reese was Florida, and that's hot. But these ones, yeah. So the doctor, Kieran McLaughlin, made his statement at the inquiry into the death. The fire was thoroughly investigated, and I'm left with the conclusion that this fits into the category of spontaneous human combustion, for which there is no adequate explanation.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. So there are a few theories about how this actually happens, and some of them are disappointing and some of them are really exciting. So natural explanations. So there's a few natural ones and a few supernatural ones. So the natural ones is like you look at, well, almost all of the postulated cases of spontaneous human combustion involve people with low mobility due to advanced age. So, I mean, if there was a fire, or if they caught fire, they might not be able to escape it or stop, drop and roll and that kind of thing.
Stop, drop, roll.
Stop, drop and roll. And then usually they have poor health as well. Yep. The victims show a high likelihood of having died in their sleep or having been able to move once they caught fire.
Fair enough.
Cigarettes are often seen as the source of fire, as the improper disposal of smoking materials causes 1 in every 4 fire deaths in the United States. Crazy. Natural causes such as heart attacks may lead to the victim dying, subsequently dropping the cigarette.
Yeah.
Then,
smoking's bad in so many ways.
Oh, yeah. Smoking can kill you in so many different ways. And then after a period of smouldering can ignite the victim's clothes. So.
But it doesn't explain why it doesn't move anywhere.
I know.
Like, why are you sitting in a house that's like recently we had a fire in our town that burnt. Like it started in an electrical point and like it went everywhere. Yeah. So why wouldn't you as a human be sitting in a chair that can't move anywhere?
And if the chair catches fire, why isn't the carpet catching fire? And why isn't the house catching the roof? And if it's
hot enough to melt that TV that was like so far away, all the plastic flowers on the table, why isn't everything else combusting?
Exactly. So there's more, right? So we talked about the wick effect, so that a small external flame source such as a burning cigarette chars the clothing, splits the skin, releases subcut fat, which is in turn absorbed into the burned clothing, acting as a wick.
Become like your own candle.
Yes, exactly. So this combustion can continue for as long as the fuel is available. This hypothesis has been successfully tested with pig tissue and is consistent with evidence recovered from cases of human combustion. So I think this is possibly the way it happens, is that there's a small flame and then
it's a smouldering versus a
a full-on flame fire,
which
right?
maybe explains why the lower limbs are left intact.
Not as much subcut fat. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, or it burns out at the knee.
Why aren't the hands just flopping off the side of the couch?
I don't know. I mean, do we want to? Yeah,
anyway, so then the human body typically has enough stored energy in fat and other chemical stores to fully combust the body. Even lean people have several pounds, kilos, a couple of kilos of fat in their tissues.
Yeah.
And this fat, once heated by the burning clothing, wicks into the clothing as much as candle wax is drawn into a lit candle wick, providing the fuel needed to keep the wick burning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the protein also burns but provides less energy than fat, and then the water is the main impediment to the combustion. However, slow combustion lasting hours gives the water time to evaporate slowly. In an enclosed area such as a house, the moisture will recondense nearby, possibly on windows. Feet don't typically burn because they often have the least fat. Hands also have little fat but may burn. There you go, if resting on the abdomen. Which provides all the necessary fat for combustion. So
maybe the house doesn't burn because it's like it's quite your body combusting. I'm just thinking of myself burning in a chair and my abdominal fat burning away in my massage chair. It just causes enough humidity in the air from my moisture absorbing that it protects the rest of the house, and I just slowly combust like a candle, melting
Is that the
away.
most fucked up way to die?
Imagine the smell.
No, I don't even care about this. Imagine being that person that your clothes caught fire and then suddenly your abdomen's fat starts spilling out.
You'd die quick,
mate.
The pain. If you were alert enough to have the pain would knock you out.
Oh my God, horrific.
Horrific, but also a good way to get in the history books. Look at us talking 30, 40, 50 years later about it.
Oh my God. So they've looked at scalding as well. So scalding can cause burn-like injuries, sometimes leading to death without setting fire to clothing, but it's not applicable in the cases where the body's charred and burnt.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's and then there's ketosis. So this one was really interesting.
Yeah.
There's a guy, Brian J. Ford. He suggested that ketosis, possibly caused by alcoholism or a low-carb diet, produces acetone, which is highly flammable and therefore could lead to apparently spontaneous combustion. So
those people on the keto diet, watch out.
Watch out, you might explode. And SHC, spontaneous human combustion, can be confused with self-immolation as a form of suicide. So it accounts for 1% of suicide. So self-immolation is basically just setting yourself on fire.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know who would ever choose that as a way to kill yourself.
Well,
fucked up. I mean, you're obviously not thinking straight anyway.
People, yeah.
1% of suicides in the West, though, that seems still significant to me anyway. But in developing countries, the figure can be as high as 40%. Anyway, that's a whole different story. And then sometimes there are reasonable explanations for these deaths. I guess they contradict the anecdotal events or their personal testimonies too.
Yeah, so people, absolutely would love the idea of human combustion versus they just were drunk and passed out and their cigarette lit them on fire. Maybe all they needed was the dual mode infrared thermometer from eNurse to make sure they weren't getting too hot.
That thermometer is the best. I actually love that you can use it in the ear. And
you've had to use it a lot lately.
I've used that a lot lately, teething 1-year-old. But it's actually really good because I can just zap her when she sleeps on her forehead without actually waking her up. And bloody Mick had a temp yesterday, so I stuck it in his ear and
you're
it actually
here. Let me nurse you.
It goes red when you get over 37.5 and it goes it's really cool.
Love that. That's cool.
Yeah. It's TGA approved and has memory function with 20 readings and can be used for, forehead and the ear.
Dual function.
That's it.
eNurse is Australia's leading nurse shop, specialising in everything that a nurse would need to survive every shift, from high quality and stylish nursing scrub sets to handheld study guides and nursing equipment. They truly are a one-stop shop for everything you need.
I was also going to be looking at healthcare workers who've died while at work.
Oh, yeah.
Super fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Way more depressing than funny. Most of the occupational deaths were a result of infectious disease or homicide.
Yeah, that literally does not surprise me.
And doesn't make me excited to do an episode.
In my nursing career, I mean, I don't know any nurse that's actually died at work or from a work-related thing. But when I was doing my EN training, like back in 2000, one of the girls that I was doing that with, she worked as an assistant in nursing for Silver Chain, which is like district nursing. So she would go to people's homes and stuff. Anyway, they used to wear like a scrub top type uniform, and she was coming out of the house with her bag and got stabbed by someone because they drove cars that were marked like Silver Chain Nursing. And, she came out and this bloke jumped her and stabbed her because he wanted drugs from her.
Whoa.
And she's like, I don't...
Did she even carry any?
No, she was a nursing assistant.
Yeah.
She was just there to do personal care for somebody. And she's like, all I have is bandages. Literally stabbed her in the calf. Thankfully was disturbed by neighbours turning on their light because she screamed. And I was like, oh my... Like we weren't even nurses then. We were like, it hadn't even... she was like... I think she was only 18 or 19. And I also knew a nurse that was beaten up outside of the ED department. She'd left for a shift, left after really her shift, and was beaten up by a drug-induced patient who had AMA'd from the ED department and had seen a police car as he was leaving and assumed that the nurses had called a police on him and so beat her up. She ended up with like a traumatic brain injury from it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's horrific. I just was thinking.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we didn't do an episode on that.
I just don't think we could I don't think you can. Like, there's nothing funny about it. Maybe maybe the old days something happened, like if you accidentally fell down the laundry shaft or something.
Oh my God.
Like, we don't have laundry shafts anymore.
Or no, but I don't think any of the deaths, death's not funny anyway.
No.
But
the way you die is funny.
It's like the context, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, so I decided it'd be a lot more fun to talk about people's dumb last words or great last words. Some of them are dumb, but some of them are great.
I love this idea.
I know.
Like, you're
fucking
famous,
funny.
Fucking
funny.
What would you say? I always imagine like if I was like dying and all my family were around and I knew I was about to take my last breath, say like, oh, I really need to tell you.
Yes!
And then like
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Or I've had this secret all my life and then just like die.
Or be like, two of you are actually not related. And then die.
He's not your father.
Yeah. But don't point to anyone.
Or if I had like a secret recipe, just like get halfway through telling them the recipe or something.
Oh my God.
Just
my
something
auntie
to
has
leave
a
everyone
caramel
like
slice
hanging.
recipe that she will never tell anyone.
And can she make us some? I love caramel slice.
It's the best. She made it for my baby shower.
Where did I not see it?
I don't know. Anyway. Okay. First one, are you ready?
Yeah.
This was Thomas J. Grasso, convicted murderer, and this was after he ate his last meal on death row. I didn't get my SpaghettiOs. I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this. Why?
What would be your death row meal? That's my question I ask everyone on their Q&As.
My death row meal.
Mine changes every time.
Yeah, I feel like I would want... Like, if you could fill a KFC bucket with their hot fucking chips full of salt and...
You're a hot chip freak.
I fucking love hot chips. And then, like, the most expensive, luxurious cookies and cream ice cream. I think, I would get the Norgan vase,
Haagen-Dazs?
Either one.
No, Norgan vase. Oh,
Norgan vase, yeah. You know how they come in those big black tubs? Like For
ice cream shops?
Yeah. I would want one of those. And then those are my two favourite foods, hot chips.
We should go get ice cream after. Yeah, that would be fun.
Right. This was Eugene O'Neill, who's a playwright, and he died in a hotel.
Mm.
I knew it. Born in a hotel room and God damn it, dying in a hotel room.
Now, do we know that these are true? Or it's just fun? Doesn't matter?
I think, no, they're because a lot of these people were famous or it was documented in the news. So I imagine most of it. I love this one. This was Jack Sue, an actor, while being wheeled into the operating room for cancer of the esophagus. Mm. It must have been the coffee.
Must have been.
And then he died.
Yeah, poor bugger.
Yeah. Joan Crawford. Aww. I love this. Joan Crawford's last words when her housekeeper was praying, damn it, don't you dare ask God to help me. Love that. And this one I loved because Bob Hope is a comedian and his wife asked him, where do you want to be buried? And he goes, surprise me. And those were his last words. I love that.
Love that.
He's a super old
Yeah.
comedian. Right. Voltaire, the philosopher, after asking a priest if he wished to denounce Satan, he said, "Now's not the time for making new enemies."
No, no.
Love that. This one was, "Pardon me, sir, I did not do it on purpose." That was Marie Antoinette, Queen of France, after stepping on her executioner's foot on the way to the guillotine.
Imagine I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Chop my head off."
Sorry.
Sorry.
Didn't mean it.
Sorry. I'm sure. Like, why did she get her head chopped off again?
Oh,
What
I don't
was
even
her?
know.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I was going to watch the movie, but I didn't.
You can watch the movie. Of course, they chopped her head off. Should have trod on his foot harder.
This was a socialite, Lady Nancy Astor. When she woke up and saw her family gathered around her bed, she said, "Am I dying or is this my birthday?" And it's so true. Do you know, like Mick's nan, when she was dying, Mick decided he wasn't going to go to visit her in the hospital. And she said, like, in the time before when she got discharged, she was like, "Oh, everybody only comes when they think I'm dying." And so then he decided he wasn't going to go. And I'm like, it's so true. Imagine, like, every time you get to hospital when you're in your 80s, like, everyone comes. You're like, "You fuckers don't visit me, but when you think I'm dying, here you are."
You've got to be there.
And this one's my favourite one. This was James French, a convicted murderer, and this was just before his execution.
I love these.
"Hey, fellas, how about this for a headline for tomorrow's paper? French fries." And then that's so stupid.
Yeah,
great.
I suppose when you're getting like executed, you really do get an opportunity to say, you could literally say whatever you want as you're dying, because there's usually a bit of a crowd and there would absolutely be press and stuff there. So like saying dumb shit like that, like I didn't get my SpaghettiOs.
Yeah.
Like
Say
I want
hi
it
to your
known.
mum for me.
Yeah. Like Rove McManus.
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny.
That's
I'll be like, "Listen to the podcast."
Oh, that's funny.
Honestly, you can't fix stupid.
No, you can't fix stupid.
Don't be stupid. Go and give us a 5-star rating and leave a review on our podcast on whatever platform you listen to us to. And follow us on Instagram at 2 Humorous Nurses Podcast.
And if you want to shout us a dying coffee or two, you could send us a virtual coffee at buymeacoffee.com/humorous nurses. Be sure to leave your Instagram handle in there so we can send you a little thank you note for our coffee. And send us your I almost died in a dumb way story. Like,
Have I almost died in a dumb way?
No, but my brother, who's just graduated
had
from the
swine
police
flu.
academy,
Yeah.
he has almost died multiple times. So
What?
he went to do this like training camp in Arkansas, like a high grade firearms training camp.
Right.
And they were shooting and they used live ammo, right? And he had a ricochet come past his neck, and if it had been like 2 millimeter over, would have killed him.
Oh my God.
He also learnt, I don't know why he learns to do these things. Like, I don't know why he does these high risk things when he's like absolutely
Accident prone.
Yeah. He was learning to solo skydive. And there is video footage of him jumping out of the plane and then ending up in a spiral.
Oh my God.
And like you can see the person who's got their like GoPro on them like freak. Like you can literally see him like trying to grab Lachlan to stop him like
Oh my God.
coming out of this like massive spin that he was getting himself into, like almost like torpedoing to death. Anyway, fixed him, righted himself, and then he was okay. And then on his next jump, he got way off course and like landed in trees or something. Like he's like almost died
God.
multiple times, and this boy just keeps doing stuff.
And now he's going to be a cop.
Yeah. Anyway, send us your stories to hello@twohumorousnurses.com. That's humorous like the bone, HUMERUS. Bye.
Safe Style makes stylish and practical safety glasses that take you from the worksite to the weekend. Upgrade your PPE today with their stylish and functional range of safety glasses.
Whether you're on shift, on call, first to the scene, or in study mode, Safe Style have you covered. Available in clear UV 400, blue light blocking, transition, polarized, and prescription lenses.
We love these safety glasses for their durability and comfort and are excited to share our discount code with you all.
Use our code HUMOROUS10 at checkout for 10% off your order.
That's Humorous, HUMERUS 10 at checkout for 10% off.